Mark Morrison is a West German-born English R&B singer. His single, Return of the Mack, became a number 1 or top 10 hit in several European countries in 1996. The song peaked at number 2 in the United States the following year. Early life: born in Hanover, West Germany, to Barbadian parents, he lived in Leicester, England and attended Rush Mead School, before moving to Miami, Florida. At age 19, he moved back to England. Career Early career Mark Morrison's first official recording was the 1993 vinyl release, Where Is Our Love, pressed on his own private Jewel label. Main career In mid-1995, Morrison released his debut single, Crazy, which became a top 20 hit in the UK. The follow-up single, Let's Get Down, also entered the top 40. They were followed in the spring of 1996 by Return of the Mack, which became a smash international hit, spending 2 weeks at number 1 on the UK charts. His debut album, also titled Return of the Mack, followed and became a multi-platinum success. It reached number 4 in the UK chart and sold 3 million albums worldwide. It spun off several more hit singles over the next year. Crazy, Trippin', Horny, and Moan and Groan would all reach the UK top 10, making him the first artist in British pop history to have 5 top 10 hits from a debut album. Although his career was going well, Morrison was constantly in trouble with the police. In 1997, he was imprisoned. The same year he received numerous nominations, 4 Brit Awards nominations, a Mercury Prize nomination, an MTV Europe Music Awards nomination, and 5 Music of Black Origin Awards nominations. Return of the Mack began to climb its way to number 2 on the American Billboard charts, receiving platinum status. It stayed on the Billboard charts for a lengthy 40 weeks. Morrison had one minor US hit, 1997's Moan and Groan, which went to number 76. Morrison performed at the 1997 Brit Awards. The performance influenced WEA and Morrison to release Only God Can Judge Me, a 9-track EP which contains live performances, interviews, prayers, and 3 full-length songs including Who's the Mack?, which reached number 13 in the UK. Legal issues Morrison has faced various criminal charges during his career, including a 1997 conviction for attempting to bring a firearm aboard an airliner, for which he served 3 months just as his hit song, Return of the Mack, began rising up the US Billboard charts. In 1998, he failed to appear in court on charges of possessing an offensive weapon, choosing to instead fly to the West Indies island of Barbados. He was arrested and remanded into custody upon his return to the United Kingdom. He was later cleared of the offensive weapon charge. In 1999 he was convicted for armed robbery for holding up a liquor store. He was convicted of a fray for his part in a brawl resulting in 1 fatality and sentenced to community service. Morrison later was incarcerated in Wormwood Scrubs for a year for paying a look-alike to perform his court-appointed community service in his stead, while Morrison himself went on tour. While in prison, Morrison reportedly converted to Islam and attempted to change his name to Abdul Rahman. Also in 1998, Morrison was banned from driving for 6 months and fined £1,380 after twice being caught driving without a license. In 2002, Morrison was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and car theft. He was released on bail, but a policeman was later arrested on suspicion of taking a bribe from Morrison in return for his release. Morrison failed to appear in court to face the charges and a warrant was issued for his arrest. In 2004, he was arrested and spent a night in custody after a fracas started when his medallion went missing. In 2009, Morrison was arrested for an assault in London. Return to music Morrison appeared on the 1999 Brit Awards where he presented an award, introduced Whitney Houston and announced his return to music. In September 1999, a single titled Best Friend featuring Connor Reeves and Gabrielle became Morrison's 9th top 40 hit single, reaching number 23 on the UK singles chart. The following year, it was announced by Billboard that Morrison had signed a 5-year worldwide deal with Death Row Records founder Marion Such Knight, making him the first, and only European artist to be signed with Death Row Records. He later signed as soccer player Kevin Campbell's Do Wicked label in 2003. His only release for the label, a single entitled Just a Man / Backstabbers, was a minor UK hit, reaching number 48 in the UK singles chart in August 2004. In May 2006, Morrison released the limited edition CD/DVD album entitled Innocent Man in the United Kingdom on his private label, Mack Records Mona Records. The title track, Innocent Man, featuring DMX, was released in March 2006. It was well received and reached number 46 on the UK singles chart. In 2007, he was featured on hip-hop artist Cassidy's single titled Innocent from the BARS. The Barry Adrian Reese Story album. The track sampled Morrison's vocals from Innocent Man, and charted on Billboard's Bubbling Under singles chart. On January 29, 2007, he released the single titled Dance For Me featuring Tanya Stephens. It was the fourth single to be released from his album Innocent Man. The official music video was directed by Ray Kay. For unknown reasons, to this date the single remains unreleased and was removed from purchase shortly after release. In 2008, Morrison announced the release of a greatest hits compilation, King of British R&B, the best of Mark Morrison, although it remains unreleased. In 2010, he announced the planned release of a new album entitled I Am What I Am. Plans for a worldwide tour to accompany the new release were also announced. In 2012, Mark Morrison appeared as a guest feature on Houston rapper Try the Truth's I'm On 2.0, which featured notable rappers Big Crit, Jadakiss, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, B.O.B., Tyga, Gudda Gudda and Bun B. A music video for I'm On 2.0 starring Morrison and all artists featured was released on June 3. Also in June 2012, he announced the release of a new single titled Ain't No Good. The single was set to be released July 29, 2013 and paid homage to the charity Refuge. The single was unsuccessful, and shelved before release. It would ultimately remain unreleased. In June 2013, Morrison released the music video to I Am What I'm shot by DIS Guys of Visionaire Pictures, with the release date set for the single on iTunes of September 1, 2013. Despite being a fan favorite, the single was shelved, and removed from purchase before its release. On October 20, 2013, he released a single titled NANG 2.0 inches featuring Crooked and Shoney. On July 7, 2014, Morrison released an EP titled I Am What I Am. The EP included the singles I Am What I Am, and NANG 2.0 inches, with 5 additional new songs. Discography: Return of the Mack, Only God Can Judge Me, Innocent Man, I Am What I Am. References: 21. Return of the Mack 14 produced by Svengali. External links: Mark Morrison official website, Mack Records official website.